Hello and welcome back. Today I want to talk to you guys about these Reolink security cameras that I picked up and how I think you can use this to supply a security camera for your off-grid cabin or house or whatever else you got going on. In our case, we're going to be using it for a hunting cabin we have up north. And I've already been working on getting this Renogy 48 volt solar inverter charger set up. And now I've got that set up and running, I'm using that to power this Reolink camera. And so I'm going to show you guys how I set this up and how it works and how you can do this completely off grid, like with no grid power at all. This will run all this. This will probably be my typical setup when I'm in the hunting stand. I'll have the security camera set up out there. I've got a laptop plugged into it right now that I'll usually have in the hunting stand. You can see it's showing what the security camera is seeing right now, which is the car there, the Mustang. And I've also got this extra monitor that I will probably have up there at the time. With the extra monitor, I'll be able to, move this over to that monitor so I can view things there. The particular Reolink model I've got here is an RLC 82-3S1. They also have an S2 that's got even, I think it's got better lenses on it so I can see a little bit further out. This one's an S1. I think it'll be plenty enough for what I need up there. And mainly what this camera is going to be doing is it's going to be seeing wildlife that's out there. It's going to track wildlife out there. And it works pretty slick. Right now I've got it set up on the grid though, because I've got the grid plugged into that Renogy server. You can see here, right here on my phone, that the power is going from the grid to the inverter, into the battery, as well as it's running the loads. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to unplug the power plugged into it, which is this cord down here. I'm going to unplug this. The inverter is now beeping at us, telling us that it does not have any utility power. And if I look here on my phone, refreshing on my phone here, you can see that the phone is showing that now it's just the battery going to the inverter and going to my loads. And so right now, it's still running the laptop. It's running this extra monitor I have there. It's running this router that I've got set up here, which I'll talk to you guys about here in a minute. And it's also running the camera itself. So it's running all of these devices off of that battery, which is a 48 volt, 50 amp battery, which will give us 24,000 volts of power. And right now we are using, how much power out of it? We are using 48 watts at this point in time. Is kind of this whole setup is what this is using. And so the way I've got this set up and working is that I've got the camera here, which is a PoE camera, so you gets power through the Ethernet cord. And then I have this device here, which is actually supplying the power, so that's drawing some load off of that battery. And then the other cable goes from that to the back of my router here that I've got set up. This is just an old router that I have around the house that I don't use anymore. So I've got the camera plugged into that, and then I have the computer off of this wire here. I've got the computer plugged into it with this wire going into the Ethernet. So one wire going to the router from the laptop, another wire coming to it from the camera out of the power injector to the PoE injector. So that gives it power, gets the data to the router. So with that all set up, you've got a simple security system set up, off grid. Don't even have any internet connection set up here. And I'll leave the camera here. I'll put it on my chair. I'll leave the camera here set up watching this, and you'll see that as I walk over to the car, the camera will pick me up here, and you'll see me right here on the screen where it picks me up, and it will track me when it picks me up. So once the camera finds me, it's got me in focus, it will actually follow me around as I move around. Got the heater here keeping me warm in here. But yeah, you can see me on the screen here, like it's tracking me pretty well. And it zooms in and out on you as it focuses on objects. And you can set it for how long you want it to stay on an object before it stops watching it and moves on. I think I have it set to like 10 seconds right now. So if I come back over here, and you can even see it up here now, It's kind of still waiting for me. If I be still, I think it'll move back to where it originally started from. And so it moved back to its original position. And you can set where you want its original position to be. So I've just set it right now to kind of watch the Mustang right there. And then as we walk into its view, it picks us up and it starts tracking us up there. It's pretty smooth. Even if I move pretty quick, it will catch me. So I'm pretty impressed with the camera. The ultimate test will be is once I get it up north, is how it will handle the weather up there. Will it be able to handle the cold? And right now it's running completely off grid. So if you're looking for an off grid solution, like this is a possibility. Get this Reolink camera, hook it up to the software here. It will record to the camera. I put an SD card into it. It will also record to the computer you have it plugged into if you want it to. You can see it went back to the car there. And it's all running off that battery. Like I said, I've got the extra monitor on here. I've got the old router there. No internet connection at this point. Like I said, it's just using it for a router. There's nothing plugged into the internet connection. But if you did have an internet connection, you could just plug it in there. Running the PoE injector, the monitor, the laptop, and that router, and the camera, we're pulling less than 100 watts of power. That battery is more than enough to handle that for, it's got 24,000 watts of power in it, so it would handle it for 24 hours. And then once we get solar hooked up to this, which is something we'll work on in the future, that will then, charge the battery. So should be enough to keep the whole system running. If it's not, you can obviously add more batteries to it, or you could add more solar panels if it's not charging it enough during the daytime, depending on how much sunlight you get where you're at. So this Reolink camera up here, I think is a good solution for off-grid security. Like I said, I'm going to use it up there for a hunting blind to watch the area. I may end up replacing my trail camera with one of these, since this has the ability to move around and track the animals as they're moving around, rather than my trail cameras, they're just pointing one direction, and if something walks in front, if they catch it. This might be a better solution. We're going to install it up there, see how it does in cold weather. And that'll be the biggest determining factor of really whether it's going to work for me, because it gets so cold up here in northern Minnesota. I think today it's around 1 degree outside and it feels like -10. So as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we will see you guys in the next one.